Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. I'm Rashad Robinson. I'm the Executive Director of colorofchange.org. We are here to deliver over 60,000 petitions calling on Anita Alvarez to use her power to right 10 wrongs. In 1992, here in Cook County, a grave injustice took place. 5 black teenagers, who would be later known as the Dixmoor 5, were arrested for rape and murder. 2.5 years later, 5 teenagers from Cook County, now known as the Englewood 5, were arrested in a different case for the same reason. In both cases, the teenagers were incarcerated for confessions we now know were forced by police. 8 of the 10 teenagers confessed during police intense coercive interrogations, and 6 of the now grown men are still behind bars.
Back in 1995, I was arrested for this offense for which I did not commit. I repeatedly denied any involvement with this case, yet the police still interrogated me in isolation away from my family after I asked to speak with them. I signed a confession to something that I did not do. I was later charged and convicted of my false and coerced statement. Even though there was absolutely no physical evidence pointing myself or either of my co-defendants to this crime, primitive DNA testing back in 1996 excluded each and every last one of us. We were all taken to trial and convicted. No one should have to experience what we've experienced.
In each of these 2 cases, known as the Dixmoor 5 and the Englewood 5, 5 teenagers were accused of and charged with rape and murder. In each case, several of the teenagers confessed to the crime. In fact, these confessions were the only real evidence connecting these teenagers to the crime. These confessions are false. They were lies. They were coerced from scared, young teenagers who never envisioned that their false admissions would send them to prison for the better part of their lives.
The DNA evidence in these 2 cases is, in fact, more powerful than in many other cases that led to the release of convicted offenders. The DNA here not only excludes our clients, but it directs law enforcement to the true perpetrators. And in the overwhelming majority of similar situations across the country, when prosecutors have been confronted with this kind of evidence, they've acted swiftly to correct injustice. But that hasn't happened here. Cook County State's Attorney Anita Alvarez has known about the DNA results in each of these cases since early this year, and yet the state's attorney's office continues to oppose their release.
I too signed a statement, false statement, implicating myself to a crime I did not commit. Several years later, DNA tests proved who the true perpetrator of the crime was, thus proving that the statement was false, which prompted the district attorney's office and law enforcement officials to join with the Innocence Project and recommend that I be released immediately.
We're going to take these petitions that we have here and deliver them to the state's attorney. Your office has the opportunity to ensure a speedy release for these wrongfully convicted Cook County residents. I expect that you will act on your moral and legal obligation to do what is right and within your authority to correct these injustices. I urge you to immediately agree to overturn the convictions of these now grown men, allowing them to proceed with the rest of their lives.